Hey sketchy friends, I hope you're all doing well today. In today's video I wanted to chat to you guys about loose sketching with a specific slant obviously on urban sketching. So first of all, what is loose sketching? So I've covered this over on urbansketchingworld.com in a post before. If you want to look that post up, it's called How to Sketch Loosely. In my mind, and from what I've researched, I think sketching loosely is about having confidence and having confidence in your drawing. I also think it's to do with maybe representing your subject matter in fewer lines and not stressing about the tiny little details. And really just the idea is to kind of capture the essence or the spirit of your subject matter without rendering it in like loads of details, you know. So some loose sketches, mine included, can look kind of messy and a bit disorganized, but when someone does this well and it kind of looks just effortless and it's loose and it's kind of messy but it's beautiful, it's just really is like my favorite type of sketching to look at. I just love it. So how do we sketch loosely? So for more information about this, I do really recommend you check out the post over on Urban Sketching World that I mentioned just before, because I do go into quite a lot of detail about it there, but I'm not going to do that here. I think here is a better medium to just look at some examples and kind of chat about them. But if you do want some more detailed information, go over there. But just as a quick summary, I find the following kind of exercises and techniques are ways that can help you to loosen up. So things like continuous line drawing exercises. So that's when you're basically drawing and trying not to take your pen off of the page. So it's a continuous line. So that can really help you to loosen up, because you can't get too bogged down in the details. You just have to keep the pen moving and, you know, try and not take it off the page. So that's a really good exercise to try. And if you type in continuous line drawing exercises into Google, you'll find some examples, or YouTube, you'll find some examples. And then next thing that you could try is doing a continuous line drawing or doing some loose pen lines, and then just using very minimal splashes of watercolor, maybe even just one color. That can make your sketching look very loose. Another tip, which actually I got from another YouTuber, his name is Liron Jakobski. Anyway, some of you probably know who I mean, Liron. I'll put a link to him below, but he's got a video on loose sketching. And one of his tips is to use a larger paintbrush so that you actually can't even fuss over the details, because you have such a big you have a much bigger paintbrush than you're used to. And I use this one a lot, actually. I use my number 10 round brush, Schoeder brush, much more now to paint things rather than going to smaller brushes. I only go to the smaller brushes if I absolutely need to. So I really like that tip. That's a really good tip. Another way to just loosen up, just to kind of get over your fear of the blank page and just get on with it, is just to splash random watercolor on your paper, and then once it's dry, then draw over the top of it. So I find that's a really good exercise. I'm a really big fan of that. You might have seen it in one of my other YouTube videos. You might have seen me do that a couple of times. And then you can also paint directly in watercolor, you know, maybe forget the lines for a while and just sketch directly in watercolor and do it wet and let things kind of move around on the page and sort of see what happens, you know. And then you can also wait until that dries, come in and start refining, maybe just in watercolor, or maybe you want to come in with your pen and refine some bits. So those are a few kind of exercises that you can try out to give at least the appearance of a looser sketch. But again, hop over to urbansketchingworld.com, just type in loose into the search bar and you'll find that article, and you can read more about it there. So more in this video, I really kind of wanted to actually focus more on actual examples that I've found. So the first sketcher example I want to show you here is by a sketcher called Phil Dean, otherwise known as Shoreditch Sketcher. So this is the one you might not agree with, but when you actually look at it properly, I think you'll know what I mean. So this doesn't look loose. But if you really like pause the video and like really look at this sketch, or even better, go over to Instagram and look at his sketches and zoom in, you can really see that Phil's lines are super wobbly, and he like wholeheartedly embraces this and is like, yep, look at my line work, it's super wobbly. But it just removes that worry of drawing perfectly straight lines or being tempted to get the ruler out, which I actually did yesterday myself. I was like, oh, I wonder what this will look like if my lines were super straight and I got the ruler out. But yeah, I think if you just really look harder into this, you'll see that actually he is doing it quite quickly, and he's not really worrying about whether his lines are straight or not, you know. And I think that it does embrace the spirit of sketching loosely. So yeah, so you may or may not agree with this one, but I think you know what I'm getting at. Like, you know, it's not sort of arduously like trying to draw something with like ultimate precision, you know. So Phil's actually just released a book. Well, I say just, it's probably like August 2020. And it's kind of in collaboration or published by the Tate, which is an art gallery in London. And it's called Urban Drawing, and it's filled with sort of exercises on how to actually capture architecture on location, and sort of, you know, shows his process really. So you can find it on Amazon. You can probably find it in other places too, but I do have a link to it below. It is an affiliate link, so if you do buy it, I'll probably get like 10 cents or something. But do check it out, because Phil is awesome. I did get the pleasure of meeting him once, and he's a dude, and I love his work. So yeah, check it out. So the next person I want to mention is Liz Steele. I'm sure most of you, nearly all of you, have heard of Liz Steele. And what I love about Liz is that she sketches just a sketch. She doesn't sketch to one day sell a print of it. She doesn't sketch to hang it on the wall or make anything other than it be a memory in her sketchbook. And I just imagine that idea is quite freeing. You know, just letting go of any expectations and just really kind of sketching. So she actually loves to sketch fast and loose, which you can kind of see on her Instagram feed. And I know that she is a big fan of using like a paint first approach. So where she actually lays down her paint, almost sketches in watercolor first, and then adds lines later. Sometimes she doesn't even add lines later. Sometimes she just goes back in once it's dry and refines it with watercolor. But I find it really interesting as well, because she's come from an architectural background. So you would think that she's like quite tight and quite precise and stuff, but she's somehow managed to let all of that go. And I'd say her stuff is very loose. And I think that one of her methods of doing that is to sketch in watercolor directly rather than with her ink lines. So that's definitely something to try out if you're looking to try out loose sketching for yourself or try and get that effect. So the next example I want to show you guys is from an urban sketcher called Paul Wang, which I think quite a lot of you will already know him as well. So he is an urban sketcher from Singapore. He teaches workshops all over the world, and he's, you know, very well known in the sort of urban sketching scene. Paul's work is loose and it's bold and it's messy, but like in a really good way. And, you know, when we mentioned earlier about loose sketching showing confidence, when I was talking about the meaning of loose sketching, I think you can really see that when you look at Paul's work. You don't really, I see lots of confidence and no hesitation, lots of playfulness, you know. And Paul sort of seems to really encourage a sense of play, as he states on his website his sketches are bursting with dramatic colours, just like a stage set. So I thought that was really interesting. So I think Paul runs probably a lot of online workshops now, seeing as we are in a pandemic and no one's really doing anything face-to-face at the moment. But so I think he also has quite a lot of content on YouTube as well. So I'll stick a link below to his YouTube channel for you to check him out. But you can also check out his Instagram. Obviously, I'm showing a picture of his work right now. And then let's talk about Suhita Shishtka. So Suhita is one of my favourite urban sketchers in terms of her people sketching. That's how I discovered her. And I just love her people sketching. And she actually has a class over on Craftsy, which I may have mentioned a few times before. Craftsy is like my favourite thing in the world. So yeah, she has a class called Figure Sketching Made Simple, which I, when I saw that she had that years ago, I was like, right, I'm in. I want to see how Suhita sketches figures, because that's what I love about her so much. So yeah, I'll leave the link in the description below if you guys want to check that out. So I know that I think I know one of Suhita's secret weapons in achieving that kind of loose gestural figure sketching that she does. And that's actually a Sailor Feud fountain pen. So you might see quite a lot of urban sketchers seem to use this pen, and I've actually got one myself, but it's in the UK, so I haven't used it for over a year now. But it's kind of the long kind of green pen, and it's got like, I want to say Japanese writing on the side. And it's got like a bent nib so that you can actually get a nice variety of line thicknesses. So I know that she's a big fan of that. She's also a big fan of the Pentel pocket brush. I also have one of these, which is also in the UK, but it's a black brush pen, and it actually comes with cartridges, so you can actually refill it, which I think is fantastic. So yeah, she's a big fan of laying in solid blacks with the brush pen. So again, I'll leave those links to those bits and bobs below if you want to check those out. But I do really go and have a look at Suhita's Instagram feed, because it's only like a one example here, but her work is just awesome. The next person I'd like to mention is Ralf Schoeder, and Ralf is a urban sketcher from Germany. I believe he lives in Berlin, but I'm absolutely in love with Ralf's work. When I discovered it, I just probably scrolled through his Instagram for I don't even know how long. I just loved looking at every single piece of his work. It's so loose, but so fiercely expressive. I can just like feel the energy from his chaos of lines. I just love it. So Ralf's work really makes me want to just hit the streets with a sketchbook and a thick black pen. Just go super minimalist, just a sketchbook and a pen. So he actually inspired me to, when I was looking at his work a while back, to sort of write a post about just urban sketching in pen and going minimalist with things, because I just love that look. So if you want to see more of Ralf's work, he does actually have a book available called 1 Hour Wait, and I think the whole premise of the book is people sketching whilst he's waiting at the bus station, I think in Berlin, which I just thought was such an interesting concept. And yeah, I can't wait to get a copy. I don't have a copy of it, but once I go back to the UK, I'm going to put an order in, because it's not available on Amazon, but you can get it elsewhere. I'll put the link in the description where you can buy it. And then while I was thinking about Ralf, I was like, oh, how am I forgetting about James Hobbs? Because he's like, in my world, he's like the OG when it comes to, inspiring my interest in urban sketching. It was like all about James Hobbs as soon as I discovered him. I think I discovered him via one of Danny Gregory's books, like one of his compendium books, the books where he like gathers together other people's work. And he's another person who's like literally just sketchbook and like a black marker pen, like a Sharpie or something, he doesn't use a Sharpie, but something like that. And just seeing his really bold graphic work with just a sketchbook and a black marker, was just like, how's this guy doing it? It's amazing. But it's also like quite what's the word? It's also a little bit childlike, but I mean that in the nicest sense of the word, because it's so bold, and he just goes for it, So he really inspired me. He really like gave me the confidence to actually just pick up a sketchbook and a pen. So that's what I love about James Hobbs, and also what I love about Ralf Schoeder as well. So definitely check out his sketches. I love his sketches of London. He's from the UK and he lives in London. So yeah, check that out. He's got a bunch of books out as well. I remember one of the first books I ever got on urban sketching was Sketch Your World, which is by James Hobbs, but he's got a bunch of other ones as well. So yeah, genius, basically. I love that guy. And then finally, I mean, I could go on forever. So like genuinely, literally could go on forever. But finally, I just want to give a shout out to Neil Whitehead, whose work I discovered on Instagram probably a year or two ago, and he's just the epitome of loose sketching, that loose kind of ink lines with splashes of watercolor. I'm just in awe of how he manages to capture the essence of a scene so loosely. He really does have a gift for it, just striking the right balance, because I believe there is a balance between looseness, but then also being able to recognize the subject matter. So it's not so crazy that you can't tell what's going on. You can actually recognize what he's doing, So Neil does actually have a YouTube channel as well. It's so I'll leave the description below, but do definitely check it out and check his work out on Instagram. I think, as you can see from these examples that I've shown you, is just, again, he's another one I could just lose myself looking at, scrolling through his Instagram profile. Probably lose a lot of time doing that, just scrolling through other artists' profiles. But I think it's cool. I think, I find it really inspiring, and I try and learn as much as I can from every urban sketcher and artist that I discover, because it's like little tidbits that you can add into your own work or your own process. And that's how you build your own style, really, is just by learning bits and bobs that you love from other people's styles, and then you kind of like put it into a hodgepodge into your own style, not even consciously, you just pick things up. And then that's kind of how you end up with your sort of distinctive style, I think. I'm not really sure I've found my distinctive style yet, or either that or it just comes out organically and you just don't really think about it, But anyway, as I said, could go on forever, so I won't. I'll stop now. But I hope you've really enjoyed this video. I do want to let you guys know that I have a course out, an online course, which I've done a very sort of soft launch about. I'm just sort of slightly starting to mention it, really, but definitely quite a few people have bought it already, which is awesome. So do go check it out. It is an online course called Sketchy Adventures in Ink and Watercolour. It references a few of the sketches in my book, but you don't need to have the book to do the course. I'm just mentioning it because the examples I'm going to show you are in my book. So we do 3 projects from start to finish, pretty much in real time. I show you my exact sketching process, the exact way I made those illustrations, all the way from composition and pencil lines, ink lines, the washes of watercolour I do, the black brush pen, everything. We go through everything and I explain everything along the way. As well as if I change something, I might do a bit of an experiment on camera, that kind of thing, and I explain why I'm doing that and what I'm thinking. I also make a few mistakes and I show you how to solve the mistakes and how to fix them. So it's really, I think, quite a comprehensive look at travel sketching. We go from looking at street furniture, we do some road signs and how to make those look interesting, to an ornate doorway, because I love ornate doorways. Project 3 kind of ties everything up, and we do a whole building. So yeah, I'm really proud of it, guys, and it's taken me a long time to get it finished and done, but there's over 7 hours of lessons there. And if you like my sketching style, you've seen my work, you like my work, then this is the course for you. It's not for absolute beginners who have maybe never touched a pencil or a watercolor brush or anything before. But if you've got a tiny bit of experience, then you'll absolutely find value here. Likewise, if you've got quite a bit of experience, I think you'll still find value here, because it's a new process, and it's possibly a new process to you. And I'm going to, take you right from the start, right to the end, So yeah, do go and check that out, guys. The link is in the description below. My book is in the same store as well, if you guys fancy having a look at that as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. Thanks for being here with me. Thank you for leaving so many comments, and thank you for your emails. I'm kind of overwhelmed by how much of a community I feel I have now through Urban Sketching World, and it's just been amazing chatting to some of you guys. So yeah, take it easy, go and check out the website, go and check out Instagram, go and check out the course, the book, send me an email, whatever. All right, all the links are in the description below. Okay, thanks guys.